Everybody, it's Saturday, May the 21st. It's an early start. It's going to be horrible later on today. Lots of rain forecast, so I thought I'd get down here early. It's 7 o'clock. I think that's a new record for me. I've not been down this early before. I'm normally tucked away, ensconced in bed, but I have a lot to do. So I'm going to show you the things I plan to do, and then I'll add to the video today and tomorrow, Sunday, because it's going to be a nicer day tomorrow. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the episode, and I'll speak to you later. Hi again, looking in the small greenhouse now, and you can see that the nice weather we had about a week or so ago has really fired things up. The sunflowers, they've gone mad. They're about 2.5 foot high, and I really got to get those planted this morning. The potatoes, I don't know if you remember those, the kestrel and the Charlotte on that side and the Sarpomere on that side, they've just gone berserk as well. I think I've even spotted a few flowers forming on some of the smaller Charlotte at the front there. At the back they're about 3 foot high, so they've got to come out of the greenhouse. I need to get the greenhouse cleaned so that I can put in my tomatoes. I've seen other people potting on the tomatoes. I saw Ian Nocton the other day, he's got his done, and they're not quite ready, but hopefully within a week or so I'll get them in. So I brought the tomatoes down for this greenhouse. You can just see them there. There are about 4 beefsteak varieties. There's a black Russian, a green zebra, a Paul Robeson and a country taste. And then I've got 4 cherry tomatoes, 2 sun gold, a black cherry and a Zakura, which is like a gardener's delight when it's a hybrid, a little bit more reliable and consistent in size and taste. The beans are about 8-inch high, so they need to go in as well. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is put the beans in and the sunflower. They're a large sunflower. I think they grow to about 6 or 8 feet, but they'll be pot bound, so that they need to go in. So that's the first job, so I can get straight on with that rather than showing you all the way around the allotment. They're the first tasks to be done. So I'm going to empty the greenhouse and plant the beans, climbing beans and the sunflowers. So I'll catch you in a bit. Afternoon everybody, it's Sunday the 22nd, and I'm just taking a look now at the work that I did yesterday and the work that I've done this morning. As I said, I've taken the climbing beans out of the first greenhouse, and they've been planted on the first bean frame, on the first allotment. I did about 60 beans in all, about 30 blue. I think they're the Blauhilde variety, and then a green variety that I inherited from a friend I mentioned earlier in an earlier update. I sowed 2 beans per cell on a 15 cell tray, and I just mentioned that because it's actually quite useful putting 2 beans in one module, because when you come to take them out of the module, if you just have 1 bean in there and the roots have grown through the bottom of the module, it's virtually impossible to take it out without snapping the bean off. If you've got 2 beans in, you can tug them both together and they come out much easier. So 60 beans, and that's the beans done the first bean frame. And just to the left, excuse my shadow, I've planted 6 sunflowers there. You can see they were ready for planting out. And then a little bit higher up that border I've got another 6 sunflowers, and they grow to, I think it's about 6-8 feet. I think they're Evening Star, I think the variety is called. And I've left a gap in between the 2 groupings of sunflower for courgettes, and up at the top there, between the sunflower and the comfrey at the top, I'll put courgettes or mini pumpkins in there as well. So that's the beans and the sunflowers. The Brussels sprouts are out too, and we've got those netted up now. Took the net and the wood off the broad beans on the next allotment, so they're in. Luckily they went in and it rained overnight, so they're well watered in. So that's that bed complete now with shallots and Brussels sprouts. Taking up the leeks, that's to be dug over now, and we're going to put in about 5 rows of Pentland javelin. So with a bit of luck we'll have a second harvest of first early potatoes in August or September. On the left here, on the legume bed, I planted out the peas. I hadn't covered up a little bit too long really with the cloche, but I've put in some pea sticks. Hopefully they'll take. They look a little bit bedraggled, but they'll come back, I think. And these are the beans, the dwarf beans, the Stanley dwarf beans that I broadcast in a broad drill a couple of weeks ago, and with the rain and the good weather they've shot up as well. This morning I also broadcast, in the same way that I did the beans there, some Kelvin and Wonder peas. So that's this bed all but done. We've just to turn over the bit to the left there, and then we'll be putting the leeks in there in a short while. So we've just about got the 4 beds planted up now. You can see over in the top corner as well the comfrey that I subdivided. That's really starting to shoot up. The first couple of plants there, they were only cut back I think about 2.5 weeks ago, and I took root cuttings and they're back and in flower. They're only small because, as I say, they've probably had a shock. They've been cut in half and subdivided, but they're in flower already, and that's within 3 weeks. So within another week or two they'll be cut and put in some buckets of water to make some tomato feed for next month. And the offcuts just to the side of them, they're growing on as well, so within a month or two they should be full size as well. So that's the first allotment. Also took the potatoes that were in pots out of the first greenhouse, and you can see how many there were. They could barely move in there. And when they're in the greenhouse they all look great, they're all bunched together shoulder to shoulder, and they're pretty much self-supporting. But when you bring them out, if you bring them out a little bit too late, you can see how leggy they are, the plants, particularly those up there at the back. They just fall about, lollop about and splay all over the place, so I've had to, you know, fasten them up with canes and twine again. Ordinarily speaking I would have taken them out earlier, but it's been so cold this year, and we had a frost as late as last week, so they are a little bit leggy, but as I say, they're all bunched together again now and supported, so another couple of weeks and they should be ready to open and we'll see what potatoes we've got. So they're the potatoes that are in the first allotment. The same with the potatoes out of the large greenhouse. They're outside as well. They were a little bit leggy too, so I've had to fasten those together as well. They're a little bit further on, I think 1 or 2 we've got flowers on them, so we might be having a look at some of those before too long. I think I've got 2 Willia, 2 Nicola and 2 Charlotte. So I've just about got the big greenhouse empty now. I've got the sweetcorn there on the bench. I didn't plant that until quite late, I didn't want it too leggy. But I've not got a very good germination rate. I've only got about 50% of the corns, the seed corn that's come through. At the back the cucumbers are doing fine, they're growing on really nicely. We'll just take a look at the raised bed that I built, because I've put a few things in there as well. So in the raised bed I've put the kohlrabi. I've got about 30 plants in there. They don't occupy much room because you harvest them when they're about golf ball size. And above I've station sown some turnips, purple top Milan, and some swede, which were the invitation variety. Behind me on the big strawberry bed I've covered and mulched the strawberries with a manure that consists probably of 50% manure and 50% straw. And at the back of the bean frame there you can see I put in about 7 or 8 rows of potatoes. They're the main crop potatoes and they've started to come through. We'll just take a closer look. These were planted last, I think around, well, towards the end of April. They're the main crop. I've got 3 rows of Picasso, 3 rows of King Edwards, and then I had some Charlotte left over, so I've got 2 rows of Charlotte at the end there. So this was just a bit of spare land on the fruit allotment. So just pardon the raspberry cane that's just blown into view. So they're coming through okay as well. Well, that's just about it for today. I've shown you the things that I had in the greenhouse yesterday and the things that were to be planted out. They're all in now. I've got to do quite a bit of tidying up, and with the sun the weeds have made an appearance en masse, so I need to do some weeding over the next week or so. I've just about got everything planted out that I need to for the time being, but I have actually decided to expand the operation a little bit, and if you look to the left, that's my new allotment, the 4th allotment. This was occupied until the end of last year. The people that had the paddock next to it used this to while away the hours when they came down to look after the horse. And they had it in reasonable condition, but they left at the end of last year. And I was given to believe that someone else had expressed an interest, that there were other people on the waiting list for allotments, and there are only 2 or 3 available at the moment, and most of them are in a really bad condition. This one actually is not bad, but I went in to pick up some new allotment keys the other day, and I just asked, out of idle curiosity, whether or not someone was moving on to this plot, because the grass was getting really high. It was about 2 feet high, full of weeds, and of course on this side I've got lots of exposed soil, and the last thing I wanted was you know, a nightmare allotment at the side, blowing all its weed seed into my allotment. And they told me that the people that had been on the list had withdrawn their interest, so I've taken it on. Might think I'm probably mad, but actually it'll complete the growing area quite nicely, I think. There's a massive building on it. It's about, I think about 10 foot by about 18 foot, and it's divided into 2 inside. There's like a clubhouse cafe on the left, and at the back there's a big store where the horse used to come in from the back from the adjacent paddock. So I have to block up the hole where the horse used to come in, but it's a massive space inside, and as you can see it's about 11 foot high or so. So I should be able to use the stable side to store all my timber, bricks, chicken wire, spent hops, spent mushroom compost, anything that's bulky I'll be able to keep in there, and that'll free up the smaller shed for, you know, the smaller items, you know, your fish, blood and bone, and your tools and all that kind of thing. And I think with this, I've just cut the grass this afternoon. It's Sunday. So I've cut the grass, and they had chickens here as well, so I've knocked down the chicken coops and tried to get rid of most of the rubbish, sorted out the decent wood and timber, and I think I'm going to keep the grass, but I'm just going to put raised beds on it, and I might plant quite a lot of fruit trees. I've been thinking about it already, and I've not got any pear trees on the fruit allotment, so I might put some pear trees, maybe some cherries, maybe some nut trees as well along the back here. So it's going to be part fruit and part raised bed, maybe 10 foot beds or 8 foot by 4 foot beds. So you didn't get to see me develop the other allotments. You saw the tail end of the second allotment that I took on last year as I finished the paths and what have you. But it'll be interesting to see just how this one develops as well. So I hope you come back and take a look and see what progress I make. Might be slow because I'm going to be devoted to weeding for the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to try and keep it tidy for the time being, and when I get the time I'll get some raised beds put together, and then at the back end of the year I'll get some fruit trees put in. So and now it's pretty big, the allotment. We've got from here right down through what was the first allotment, the second allotment, and then down to the third fruit allotment. So it's now roughly an 800 square metre growing space. So watch this space and we'll see how things go. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye.